All right, so my name's Jeremiah Dodds, and this is going to be my first podcast I've ever done. And I'm going to be kind of doing like a little one-on-one with Ed, get to know him a little bit. We're both Gators in the Gator program, Gator Lending, and I found Ed through a friend named Dale Simpson, excellent guy. But if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Ed, that'd be great.
Yeah, thanks, Jeremiah, and thanks, Dale, for putting us together. Yeah, my name's Ed Adler, um, and this is my first podcast as well, and I'm interested to learn and glad to meet Jeremiah. So thanks a lot.
All right, so when did you join the Gator program?
Well, it feels like about 5 years ago, but it was 5 weeks ago.
Right. A lot
I
to
was,
learn, isn't it?
it's overwhelming. I was talking to my wife about that this morning. I said, "You realize we're only exactly 5 weeks into this?" And I had such high expectations for moving forward quickly. And of course, Pace preaches about taking action on every level. And I was like, wait a minute, we're doing just fine here. we're only 5 weeks in. So anyway, it was 5 weeks ago that we got involved.
Yeah, you get into it and you start going through all the program, and I mean, it's a lot to get through, and then
It
trying to
is.
implement it at the same time, it can be kind of rough.
Yeah, and it was interesting. There was. It's like no other program I've ever seen because you get involved with the Gator method, and then there's 5 different challenges that they ask you to take part in, and it's chaos. You don't really know what's going on, including this podcast. You don't really know what's going on at any one time, and you're being pulled in multiple directions. And I, I think that it's purposeful for good reason, to kind of teach you to live in chaos. And I believe, and I think, I don't know for sure, but it feels that way.
Or
So,
at least to deal with chaos.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Like when I got into it, I mean, and things have changed. Like we've changed platforms, we changed Facebook groups, we've changed a lot of different things, and trying to figure out where you're supposed to be and all that has been a little confusing as well.
yes. I noticed that too. Only 5 weeks in, he's constantly updating, upgrading, and moving things in different directions. So, good for him.
But it's
So
always upwards. We're always moving upwards. Everything he's done. I mean, especially like the latest affiliate link stuff that he's got going on. That to me was pretty amazing.
it is.
Yeah.
Everything he's doing is very insightful and visionary. So it's very cool. So anyway, yeah, thanks for asking about that. I got involved, and we talked about this earlier, how we all got involved in this. I have another business that's a neurosurgical supply company, and it took kind of a downturn for a while because my main customer quit his job. If your customer quits his job, you kind of quit your job for a while too. So fortunately, we didn't completely stop, but I wanted to find something else to add to my business. And as I was looking around, a good friend of mine has about 45 doors himself, and he's an insurance guy. And we started talking about real estate, and I've always been interested and curious about owning as many rental properties as possible. So we started talking about that, and he told me about Bigger Pockets. So I started looking at Bigger Pockets on Instagram and Facebook, and Pace is affiliated some way, or they all kind of work together in some way. And I found Pace, and he just really stood out to me. And then he started talking about the Gator method, about getting involved quickly in real estate. It's like, that makes sense. Of course, I didn't know exactly what he was talking about. Started investigating a little bit, and then quickly realized, hey, this is how we can move over quickly with cash flow. And not just adding real estate to a portfolio. Don't get me wrong, that's a long-term goal, but with my business turning down, I needed to replace that income.
Yeah,
And as
quickly.
I invest, yeah, quicker the better. Um, we've been on a holding pattern for a year and a half, and I kept an employee on the entire time too. So,
Wow.
hey, let's go ahead and add some income.
Yeah, you need that income for sure.
Yeah. So as I investigated this, I'm like, yeah, this makes total sense. And so we just jumped into it headlong, and it's been a crazy 5 weeks. So that's how I got involved, how I found out about it, and where we are right now.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't understand that. I mean, to get into real estate, people think, well, I got to buy properties, I got to do this, I got to do that, right? But there's so many different avenues inside of real estate. There's Gator, there's lending, there's Gator, there's private money lenders, there's all these other opportunities, right? You don't just have to buy real estate. There's all sorts of different avenues that you can take to get into real estate, and then eventually get to the point where you want to get to, which is buying properties.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I had no real understanding of financing other than the multiple houses I purchased for my house or myself over the past 30 years. Um, and I had ideas of how to finance deals, but this really solidified it and really opened my eyes to opportunity that I had no idea about. And you know, like I said, I keep going to the 5 weeks, but I looked into. It took a while to get our EIN and our LLC, but we did that, and then we went and started our accounts, and we started looking into lines of credit to fund the business, and didn't realize how much was actually available. It's like, wow, that the financial industry is really behind this because they're offering a nice sum of money. And
Yep.
once we did that, it's like, hey, this is really going to be nice. Now, I think Pace kind of preaches to you to not bring your own money to the deal.
Yeah, use other
But
people's money. Yep.
yeah, and I understand and agree with that. But only 5 weeks in, I'm like, hey, there's deals out there I want to take part in. There's opportunity. So that's where I'm at today, and just found a couple deals last week, and am amazed at the possibilities. Unfortunately, I'm pretty uneducated and such a newbie that I need help from others, and I have run into a person or two that's willing to help.
Well, that's the power of community right there, right? Because you got the entire Gator community that you can wrestle and bring them together, and then take on any deal and bring these people together and get it funded, and then you get a chunk of change out of it.
And you quickly find out the value of aligning yourself with Pace and the community. He talks about the community, but you don't really know what that is until you get into it. And then once you're into the Facebook group and start talking to people such as yourself, you start realizing, hey, we're all going to help each other and make money together. And without being in the community, I mean, you almost feel like if somebody comes in, and I've dealt with this too in the short time I've been doing it, people messaging me outside of the community and like, oh, I don't know if I can trust that person. But if somebody's in the community, it's like, oh yeah, they're in the community, I can trust you.
Yep, you can
So
always,
that's
and you got you make all the friends you can make right there in the Gator community, because each one of them is not competition. They're actually there to help you out,
that's exactly
educate
right.
you, take you by the hand, help you to do the contracts, all that kind of stuff.
Yes,
So community is everything.
absolutely, and you have to pay for that. I mean, I guess you don't have to; it depends on the person. But I want to pay for that because there's value in that, and but
A
at the
lot
same
of
time, like
value.
you say, yeah, at the same time, they're vetted out for you. They're go givers. You read the book Go Giver. It's a
Excellent
great
book.
philosophy. It is, and I appreciate the entire thing so far. So
Absolutely. So before I let you go off of here, what would you recommend to somebody that's new, that's maybe considering getting into the Gator method or something like that? What would you say to them?
wow, that's I'm such a newbie. It's hard to give that kind of information. But the short time I've been into it, I would probably say um, relax. You're doing just fine. Um, do everything you can, but realize that um, this is a marathon, not a sprint. It feels like a sprint, but you're going to get everything done that you need to get done, and continuously reach out to other Gators and have conversations, and everything will flow the way it's supposed to flow, and you're going to do just fine.
And what's your long-term goals with the Gator program?
Such as it is, the private money lending and um, some Gator lending as well. I'm more than happy. It just seems like the PML is available and lucrative. So I think just to build that within the next 12 months, and the relationships that come along with that. And then, of course, 3 to 5 year goal is to add a portfolio, but not really a giant one, probably 10 to 15 houses. And then just continue to grow and scale the lending business.
So your main focus is on the lending, not necessarily getting long-term rentals or anything like that.
So, such as it is, I might change my mind.
Right. Because with
But yeah,
the long-term rentals though, you get appreciation on the asset itself, the house. You get cash flow every month on the, checks in the mailbox. And then you also got depreciation on the tax side,
yeah,
where when you're doing the lending, the Gator lending, you don't have that depreciation, you have to pay that tax.
right.
So
Yeah, that's
long term, maybe you could consider, getting into holding some long-term rentals to offset what you owe in taxes.
how many would you suggest?
Well, it just depends on the property. If you get $1 million property, that's going to be a pretty big write-off, right? And
Right,
if you get a cheap property, 100,000 or something like that, then it's going to take multiples to offset. And it also depends on how well you're doing in the Gator program,
right.
right? If you're rocking that Gator program and making $1 million a year, then you're going to need a significant amount of property to offset that tax.
That's right. That's right.
you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes,
But
sir. I do understand.
But
And
anyway, this was very interesting. I enjoyed this time with you, and I wish you luck in the Gator program and in your future real estate goals. And I hope you have success in it. And looking forward to hearing your future stories on how you did as a couple years go by.
thanks, Jeremiah. It was great talking to you, and I appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.